In this video, I'm going to show you how my collection of Criterion Blu-rays went from this to this within the span of a month. Personally, I love curating my Blu-ray collection towards my cinematic preferences, and Criterion is the best brand to do that as it is a brand that prioritizes innovative filmmaking and cultural impact, as well as fantastic restoration. Throughout the entire month of November, Barnes & Noble had a 50% off sale of Criterion. You know that when that sale happened, I was sniffing blood like a shark for the first time. So without further ado, I present to you all my entire collection. So my first haul of the month was November 2nd, and I picked up 11 Blu-rays to start off the month of November. The first one I present to you is 12 Angry Men. Everything in this film is above average, to the cinematography, to the acting and performances, to the choreography of it all. But the golden star is really the screenplay. I've never seen a better screenplay than this film. It feels potent and impactful even 70 years after its release. It's really good stuff. Next up is Bottle Rocket by Wes Anderson. I love Grand Budapest. I love Asteroid City. Bottle Rocket wasn't my favorite of his, but I can always appreciate how he manages to craft his whimsical little world that always manages to put a smile on the viewer's face. Next up is City Lights. I watched this for the first time earlier this year. It was actually in my I watched 30 films within 10 days video that I released earlier this year. I was definitely very light on it before. I really liked it, but it wasn't anything special to me. I rewatched it a few weeks ago, and oh my god, I'm absolutely in love with this film, and this is definitely going to turn into a comfort watch for me. There's a lot of depressing subject matters, but everything just feels so hopeful in this film. The slapstick is hilarious. I definitely might need to get into more silent films after this. Next up is Happiness. This is actually one of Criterion's newer releases. Definitely a polarizing film for me. I can see how one can view this as a bird's eye view of humanity, but I can also see how one can view this as complete nonsense. I happen to fall in the middle of it, but this was a pretty good time, and I definitely am going to rewatch this so I can form a more nuanced view on this film. And then I got Ikiru by Akira Kurosawa. Not my favorite Kurosawa film, that would have to be Seven Samurai, and I intended to get Seven Samurai this haul, but Ikiru was definitely calling me. I've only seen Ikiru once, and it was definitely one of the most philosophical films I've ever seen, and it definitely begs a rewatch from me. I think that's the reason why I got it, because I really wanted to rewatch it over Seven Samurai, which I watched twice this year, and it's also just a ginormous movie, 3.5 hours long. That's not to say I didn't get Seven Samurai though. I got this later in the month. Just a fantastic box set. I don't see myself watching it anytime soon because I watched it twice this year, like I said, and it's just such a monster of a film. Definitely one of the greatest epics of all time for sure. Next up is Perfect Days. I've never seen Perfect Days. I've only seen Paris, Texas, which I absolutely love. Love Wim Wenders from what I've seen. And speaking of Paris, Texas, I also got Paris, Texas on Blu-ray. This was a couple days after I got Perfect Days on Blu-ray. Definitely a good combo of films to have, and I'm excited to watch this for the first time, and I'm excited to show my girlfriend this because I know she's gonna love this movie. My girlfriend got both The Red Shoes and Portrait of a Lady on Fire to add to my haul. I've never seen either of these movies, but I know I'm gonna like both of them, and I know she's gonna love them. I'm really specifically excited for The Red Shoes, as I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about it. Either way, good films to add to the collection. Next up is Tampopo. My girlfriend got this one, and we watched it for the first time, and it's such an incredibly cute movie with so much chaos involved. It's also a film that made us incredibly hungry after watching it. Oh my god, the presentation with the food. Give me some ramen right freaking now. My god, I'm hungry just talking about it. Moving on to the slipcovers I got that day, I picked up my own Private Idaho just specifically because I love the slipcover of this film. There's some great characterization in My Own Private Idaho. Both Keanu Reeves' character and River Phoenix's characters, just fantastic to watch on screen. River Phoenix, man, it's a tragedy. He was definitely on par to be one of the greatest actors of all time. I also got Parasite, as I just love the slipcover to this. One of the greatest slipcovers probably in the Criterion collection. I don't intend on watching it anytime soon because I just watched it this year, but I know I'll rewatch it sometime because Parasite is just a simply fantastic film. Everyone knows about Parasite. So that is everything I collected on the 2nd of November. Moving on to around the 5th and 7th of November, I made 2 separate mini hauls, so I'm going to go into that now. I got 2 films for my girlfriend. I got Crash by David Cronenberg because she expressed interest in Crash. The premise just sounds really outlandish, so we decided that we had to see this film. It's also not on any streaming services right now, so it is a perfect buy to our physical collection. I also got her Lost in America on physical. She watched this one a couple days before I got it for her, and she just expressed that she really liked it, so I decided to pick it up and sometime we'll watch it together. She ended up getting 2 films for me as well. One of them was Paris, Texas, which I showed to you earlier, and then she also got Being John Malkovich. Now, I still haven't watched this one yet. It was the same thing as like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It took a while for me to watch it for the first time because it just sounds like so outlandish to jump into. It really feels like it's going to need your full attention. And I feel like this is the same way, but I know I'm going to like this one. Charlie Kaufman is a genius in writing screenplay, so I know that this is going to be fire for sure. And then on the 7th of November, I got a couple more films. This one happens to be one of my favorite box covers of all time for the Criterion. It also happens to be one of my favorite films of all time. That would be Dazed and Confused. I just love Linklater's fly on the wall type of filmmaking. This is the first Linklater Criterion film I got, and it's not going to be the last one you're going to see. This one's definitely a comfort watch for me, at least like once a year. Next up is Raging Bull. I'm a big Scorsese person as well. He is also one of my favorite American directors. I know, basic picks, but come on, they're just great. I already have After Hours on Criterion. This was before November, so I thought, why not get Raging Bull to complement After Hours? I've never seen Raging Bull actually, but I know it's a classic. I love Robert De Niro, and I know for sure this is gonna be a great watch sometime. And then I got another American director on this haul, another great one, but I haven't seen a lot of his work, but from what I have seen, absolute masterpieces from Heat to Collateral. So I thought I would get Michael Mann's Thief. I don't know anything about this film. I just know it's directed by Michael Mann, who's a goat, and I know it's about a thief. So that was my haul from the 5th to the 7th. The next one was around like November 15th, I believe. Got a bunch of slipcovers this haul. I got Mishima by Paul Schrader. I've never seen a Paul Schrader film myself, so I thought, why not start off with his most critically acclaimed? And also, my god, this slipcover is beautiful. Right next to Mishima alphabetically, I got David Lynch's Mulholland Drive. This was another one I haven't watched, a critically acclaimed David Lynch film. I've never seen Lynch outside of Eraserhead, but I've heard this film is something else. And I love those avant-garde, dreamlike films, so I'm excited to dive into this one sometime. Getting some more Rick Linklater in, I got Slacker. I've never seen Slacker, and then I watched it a couple days after I got this on Blu-ray. Not my favorite of Rick, but fantastic film. Still love how he gets so much out of just simple dialogue. Definitely gonna get a rewatch sometime. Not my favorite of his, like I said, but still a great one nonetheless. I also got Time Bandits, not the first Terry Gilliam film I would have chose. I really wanted to get Brazil, but come on. The holographic box cover is just mwah. Chef's kiss. Another fantastic box cover, and then just the spine, both sides of the spine is just so goddamn radical. I've never seen the original Godzilla. I've only seen -1, but I've heard it's a good film, and I just love those like classic old foreign films, so I'm sure this Godzilla is gonna hit. Next up is Videodrome. We got some more Cronenberg. My girlfriend also expressed interest in this film. I guess she just really wanted the weird films this week. Don't know anything about Videodrome, but I just love the spine, love the box, and I'm sure this is going to be a crazy ride, and I cannot wait. And then lastly, what can I say? Got some more Linklater. This is going to be the last one. It's going to be Boyhood. Haven't seen Boyhood yet, but it sounds really experimental, being a film that was filmed over the span of 12 years. I'm excited. I love Ethan Hawke. I love Patricia Arquette. Of course, I love my man Rick. So my next haul was on the 22nd of November, and I had to go into my living room real quick and whip out my box set of Jacques Tati. So before getting this box set, I watched Playtime for the first time just to understand if I would like Tati films. And I don't mean this to sound exaggerative, but my god, I've never seen a film like Playtime. This film is just not made like how other films are made. It's not made for you to interact like other films. Very bizarre, but I absolutely adored this one. It felt like I was in a never-ending carnival funhouse for 2 hours. Loved how this film presented itself. My girlfriend also got I Married a Witch. It was only $15, which is very inexpensive for Criterion films. We've never seen or heard of this film, but she read the synopsis of this film and she thought it would be really cute and she would enjoy it, so she picked it up. Last of this haul, I got La Piscine, otherwise known as The Poolside. I watched this one like a day after I watched Playtime, and I decided I needed to have this physically, so I got it. And I just love narratives like The Poolside. There's a certain level of tension in this film that is always there, but it just takes a while to be dragged out, and it just feels so satisfying seeing it incrementally drag out. I also pre-ordered The Human Condition that day and got it like a couple days later. This is part 1 to part 3. I was debating between what Kobayashi film I wanted, either Harakiri or The Human Condition, but The Human Condition just had more value because it was 3 films in one. I watched this whole trilogy for the first time earlier this year, and I love how each film represents each stage of war. Just some great character change and character development in this trilogy for sure, and it's going to look fantastic on my TV as well. A couple days later, I made a miniature haul. I got Paper Moon because it literally came out that day. I was at Barnes & Noble and it just appealed to me. The box set was so nice and pristine looking. Love the spine. I've never seen Paper Moon before, but I know it's a nice family-friendly, cute movie that my girlfriend would like, and I would probably like it too, so I decided to pick it up. It was also on 4K, so I'd imagine it's going to look fantastic on my TV. And then I also got All of Us Strangers. I watched Gladiator 2 like a couple days before I got this, and I was just on that Paul Mescal kick, even though I think he was pretty underwhelming in Gladiator. I remember watching All of Us Strangers in theaters earlier this year, and I was just feeling a sense of wanting to see it again, so I decided to pick it up. And I just love the art of the Blu-ray itself. I rewatched this one a couple days after I got it with my girlfriend, and knowing everything I knew about the movie going into it, it's just so satisfying on a rewatch. It feels like you're diving into the human psyche. And also, just something I underappreciated about this film is it's just so visually beautiful as well. It was an absolute treat to rewatch, and I'm gonna watch it again sometime for sure. It was definitely a film that I slept on when I first watched it in theaters, and I'm so satisfied to say that a rewatch was just so rewarding for me. I also got Uncut Gems on 4K, and this is a fire slipcover as well, a little holographic. Just one of the most suspenseful films I've ever seen. And it's suspense out of nothing. It's just suspense out of dialogue. And Sandler's performance is just so great in this film. Absolutely hilarious as well. Rewatched it a couple days after getting this film, and it's just a good watch. I love it. My girlfriend got House. I recommended House to her. One of the greatest horror films of all time. Just so visually enthralling. I feel like I get a dopamine rush out of watching the stuff that goes down in House. The ending is a little off the walls, but it's complementary to an off the walls film itself. I decided that this would be my last haul, so I decided I would push it out and get a crap ton of DVDs. So I ended up getting 21 Blu-rays, so strap in, this is going to be a bit of a ride. So I'm going to do the slipcovers first. The first one I got was Blue Velvet by David Lynch. I don't know anything about this film. I heard it's fantastic, similar to Mulholland Drive, but I just love the box cover. I mean, blue is one of my favorite colors, so I decided to pick it up, and I'm sure I'm going to like this one. Next is Grand Budapest Hotel. I thought it was kind of unfair that Bottle Rocket was my only Wes Anderson that I got on Criterion, and this slipcover is just so clean, and Grand Budapest Hotel is my favorite of Wes Anderson, so I thought I need this physically right now, and that's what I did. And then my girlfriend got Pink Flamingos. I've never seen Pink Flamingos, but I made this recommendation for her because I just knew she would like it off of what I heard. And she just also likes John Waters, so this was relatively safe for her. And I know I'm going to like it too, because usually we end up liking the same stuff. And for the last of my slipcovers, I got Wall-E. I wanted an animated film. I didn't want Fantastic Mr. Fox because I already own it on Blu-ray and I just got Grand Budapest. So I didn't really need more Wes Anderson. I thought about Fantastic Planet, but ultimately I wanted Wall-E. This was a 4K Blu-ray, and I wanted to rewatch Wall-E again. So yeah, I'm excited to rewatch it and in the best quality possible. Pixar films are always a certain something for me, so I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this rewatch. Moving on to just normal Blu-rays. My girlfriend picked up both Broadcast News and then Charade. These films just piqued her interest, so I just told her, hey, get both. They'll be good in our collection for sure. And then I got Election. We actually watched this for the first time a couple days ago, and it felt unnecessarily dark at times, but it was just so funny, and I love the end result of this film as well. Some all-time great performances between Matthew Broderick and Reese Witherspoon. Even Chris Klein gives a great comedic performance. This one was fantastic for sure. It's definitely a good add to the collection. And then I got Hoop Dreams as well. I needed to add a documentary to my collection, I felt. I thought about getting the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or even Bob Dylan documentaries, but I thought to go outside of my comfort zone and get a basketball documentary. I enjoy watching basketball whenever I do. I'm just not that familiar with basketball, but I've heard a lot of great things about Hoop Dreams, so I'm sure this is going to be a good add to the collection as well. Next up, I wanted to get one more Kurosawa film. I got a Kurosawa film that I have heard nothing about. It's called Kagemusha. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. Thought about getting Yojimbo, but it didn't really appeal to me. Thought about getting Rashomon, but I ultimately put it off. I decided to get a colored Kurosawa film because I've never seen a Kurosawa film in color, and this one just looked interesting to me. And then My Darling Clementine, I don't have a Criterion Western film or even a Western film at all, I don't think. I've heard like this is one of the definitive Western films alongside of like The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, A Fistful of $1 Million, and Once Upon a Time in the West. So I decided to pick it up, and hopefully this will be a good one. Then I got Memories of Murder. I just really love the artwork on this film. I've never seen it. I've never seen a Bong Joon-ho film outside of Parasite, so I thought this would be a good companion film to Parasite to have. And then I got Pan's Labyrinth. I wanted to add more fantasy films to my Criterion list, so I thought Pan's Labyrinth would be really good. I've never seen Del Toro films outside of The Shape of Water, and The Shape of Water I watched a long time ago. I thought the screenplay was just so weird that it turned me off of it. Maybe I'd like it now, but either way, I wanted to give Del Toro films another chance, and Pan's Labyrinth just appealed to me the most. I got Paths of Glory by Stanley Kubrick. I watched this film for the first time earlier this year, and then it was so good that I rewatched it like 2 days later. Not so much an anti-war film like all the other war films are, but it's more a anti-establishment film. And I found that to be really interesting. My girlfriend got The Princess Bride on 4K, and my god, this is one of the coolest Blu-rays of all time. It's just like a little miniature book. I'm gonna leave it here to display for the rest of the video because it's so goddamn cool. I put these films in the box set part of my collection because I don't have room for them on my shelf, and they're not box sets. My girlfriend got the individual versions of these films because she thought the spines look better than the box set. We're talking about the 3-color trilogy. I haven't seen the 3-color trilogy, neither has she, but I've heard fantastic things about it, so this is definitely going to be something to dive into, definitely sooner rather than later. My girlfriend also got Trainspotting. I don't know why, because this definitely does not sound like a movie that would be for her. We ended up watching it, and I love this movie. This movie was so goddamn funny, but also so goddamn sad because it just felt like a never-ending chain of events. Next one is The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. I wanted to get more musicals, and now that I think about it, I also ended up getting All That Jazz in this haul. These were 2 musicals that I just wanted to see. I ended up watching All That Jazz earlier this month, actually. Fantastic film that dives into the deaths of stardom and what it ends up ultimately costing. Fantastic film, but anyways, back to Umbrellas of Cherbourg. My friends love this film. I asked them if I would like it. They said yes, so I just picked it up for the fun of it. Last but not least, I got The Vanishing. I've never seen The Vanishing, but I wanted to add another horror film to my Criterion collection. I considered The Silence of the Lambs, but I don't really care enough about The Silence of the Lambs to add it to my collection. So I decided to go outside the box and see a film I haven't seen. I've actually seen the American version of The Vanishing with Jeff Bridges. Absolutely horrible, but I've heard good things about this one, and I'm hoping that it's just a bad American adaptation and this one is the real deal. So hopefully it is. I'd imagine it is. So yeah, this is everything I got this month. I ended up counting everything, and if you don't include the box sets, if you include the box sets as like one entity, these are 60 films that I got over the span of November. It's definitely satisfying to finally complete my Criterion collection, at least for now. Eventually, when that July sale or even that November sale hits next year, I'm gonna get back into it, but for now, I feel like I can rest easy with this collection of films that I got. I love collecting films because it feels like a love letter to the media that I love the most, and it also feels like a curated collection is a look into my life, and I feel like I got to show you guys everything about me. So thank you for watching, thank you for being a part of my life, and let me know what are some of your favorite films in the comments down below that I have in this collection. What are some films that you feel are lacking in this collection? Let me know.